The album Waterloo contained the same amount of songs where Björn was the lead vocalist than its predecessor Ring Ring. This number would decrease significantly in the next album, ABBA, once it was understood the potential of Agneta and Frida's voices. However, the difference between Waterloo and Ring Ring is that when the girls' voices are accompanying Björn, the vocal arrangements have a lot of personality and work, the ABBA trademark. There are no more antiques updated in a rush, such as I Saw It in the Mirror or Rock and Roll Band. I thought, still, Björn's solo songs hardly shine in the Napoleon album. One exception is Dance, Where the Music Still Goes On, one of the highlights from the LP. Its title makes us think that it is an upbeat song, but it is actually a ballad that tells the story of a farewell. Björn sings somewhat monotone, a recurring effect that Björn used to depict. And being the lyrics so much alike the Another Town, Another Train once, it would have well deserved to be sung with the same melancholy that he used to perform that track from the Ring Ring album. In Dance, we have the typical ABBA wall of sound at its best. Drums are played with a persistent pattern most of the time, a pattern which drives the song always forward and reminds us of those legendary ones on Ticket to Ride by the Beatles. Benny adds layers of sound, imitating an orchestra with a mellotron, and repeating the notes of the girl in the chorus with its Moog synthesizer, resembling a piano. This sound was used in several parts, such as on the dreamy intro, reinforced also by the mellotron. Here, Agneta's acting skill delivers a credible broken-hearted girl which anticipates future glories in store for the group. Lyrically, Dance, While the Music Still Goes On, also anticipates the lyrics to When All Is Said and Done. 7 years later, I thought this one talks about a real breakup and not just the possibility of it. The wall of sound is so dense that they even dare to add a fierce electric guitar solo when Agneta is singing alone, a solo which is, sadly, hard to perceive in the final mix. The warmest moment of the song is right there, at the center of the chorus, which is achieved simply by descending in the musical scale, one note at a time, without speaking a single note in between. Dance was the first song to be recorded for the Waterloo album, still with a Björn, Benny, Agneta and Annie Fried written on the recording sheet to credit the artist, yet instead the ABBA acronym, and this is a song that Benny and Björn were satisfied with from the very beginning of its composition. It's very close to those early 60s Phil Spector type of songs that we really liked, explains Björn. I also remember writing the lyrics in a small Stockholm flat that Polar owned. I thought the title was too long, but there was no getting around it, because we couldn't just call it Dance. This recording session is historic for two reasons. First, it was the last time the first long group's name appeared on a recording sheet, next time replaced by ABBA. Second, it marked the only occasion in which another musician, not Benny, played on an ABBA recording as the main keyboard player. It was an American pianist that Jane Shaffer brought along to the studio, Benny recalls. But I thought he was very competent indeed. I found it very difficult not to play the piano myself. It's much harder to tell someone to try this or that way of playing it than to do it yourself, because then you can just put your hands down on the keys and see what happens. Benny cannot remember the name of the keyboard player nowadays, and Jane Shaffer does not remember even the fact, but he says it could only have been John Rabbit Bindrick, who was touring Sweden at that time and was a member of reggae singer Johnny Nash's band. The final outcome was not entirely satisfactory to Benny, since he replayed the keyboard part at a later stage.